Welcome back. We're here today with the next episode of the Stuff You Should Grow podcast, and I'm here today joined by my with my friend Jake. Tap will no longer be joining us on these episodes due to personal reasons, and Lizette is currently dealing with a family emergency. So, on this episode, I decided I would do a special one-off episode. If you guys like this type of content, maybe I'll start my own spin-off show because I'm not sure Lizette's not that big of a movie buff, so maybe I'll start the Stuff You Should Watch podcast or something like that, and we can have Jake and I can have our own movie nerd discussion hour or whatever. This is honestly like kind of like a book club but for movies. But yeah, I'm gonna let Jake introduce himself, and then we're gonna go ahead and just get right into it and start talking about Dune.
Yeah, what's up? I'm Jake. Been been watching movies my whole life, but I got kind of heavy into them like a little bit before COVID, so like 2019, 2020, right? Been watching just random stuff for a while, usually equaling about like two a week. But I'm kind of varied in taste. You know, I do tend to like gravitate towards more character focused movies, but you know, I'm into a little bit of everything. You know, like I've you know, if I don't know how in depth everybody listening is, but like you know, I'm down with like you know some of the older stuff Ozu's done like in the '50s from Japan, and I'm cool with like the stuff like Vinterberg's done. You know, like the Danish film director. You know, those are like two of my favorites. A lot of French cinema around like the you know '60s, '70s, and '80s are really cool too. Like and you know also like some more new stuff like Jordan Peele. Like I'm a big fan of him. Christopher Nolan, of course, and stuff like that. So like you know I'm all over the place, but you know that's kind of the fun part about movies.
What about some Wong Kar Wai? I gotta put you on.
Is that the guy who made like In the Mood for Love?
Yeah, but that's not a very good representation of his filmography, in my opinion.
I haven't gone too far into it. I know I watched like one of his movies, like I think it was either Chungking Express or Fallen Angels is what I wrote or what I watched from him, and like I was kind of grasping at straws trying to get into it, so I haven't really looked at the rest of his
I think
catalog yet.
Fallen Angels is not very not a very accessible movie of his to get into, but
It def-
I think it's more representative of his stuff. So if you didn't really get into it there, I wouldn't really want to waste your time. But I really enjoy his movies. Like even if I don't understand shit, I just love the spectacle of it. Just the way he films and the way that he uses the wide angle lens and and the cameras back then were different too. But the way that he just uses filmography to like accentuate his story and the way it's just like, oh my god, I'm using big words. We're doing like fucking film pretentious bullshit right now. But like the 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 way that his fucking that he a lot of his films they don't even use gimbals. It's just like it's just filmed normally, and it's just crazy the way that what he was able to accomplish on such shoestring budgets. I don't know. I'm a content creator, so like anything to do with like filmography or like the way something has been shot is really interesting to me. So even like aside from the plot points with the Wong Kar Wai movies, yeah. If I was the one that had that could dictate our next movie, we can we could watch a Wong Kar Wai. But Jake did me a huge favor and he sat through I Am Sam, the entirety of I Am Sam with me, and it was a
Hell yeah,
glorious. It was a
made me happy. It was pretty fun.
but yeah.
No, I mean like I'm open to it. Like it's just like there's just so much that movies tend to have to offer. So like when I end up watching something that I usually don't just ditch a director after one, and I'm not like writing the guy off. You know what I mean? It's just like what I did is I went to his filmography and I found the most critically acclaimed one, and then I chose that. And then like his obviously like I can respect the technical aspects behind it, but usually like when I'm looking for like a movie that's like crazy, it has like a bit of everything. And like I've seen a lot of movies where people have just like sat there and like you know kind of like flex their directorial ability. You
Mm,
know what I mean?
mm.
And I like that as
But it
long as there's
doesn't
a
make up
purpose
for
behind it.
like a lack of writing.
No, like I'm fine with even if there's like abstract form of writing. You know what I mean? Like I want like it, I guess the idea is like some people try to say that people tell a story through the way they frame stuff, and that is the case. But like, is it what I have to think about is like, okay, is it one unique, or is it two? Is it adding to the story they're trying to, or like trying to make? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's obscure just for obscure's sake, then usually I don't think it's a good addition. And I'm not trying to categorize this director as that. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
haven't seen a
Mm-hmm.
lot of his shit. That's just like when I was watching that movie, I was like, okay, this is like I'm kind of grasping at some stuff, and it's like fun to watch, but
Okay.
like I don't see like I don't see the grand picture for why this is one of
Okay.
the greats. You know what I mean?
Okay. So
So,
here's what I'd want to do. I think I know, like, because you started at the deep end of the pool. The reason I said In the Mood for Love isn't representative is because it's the opposite end. It's a completely straightforward story, but the filmography is still there. It's still a spectacle to watch, and the way that he frames every single shot, it's so good. He frames the couples that are actually married as always having a partition in between them, and you never really see the partners that are cheating. Okay, you already know what the synopsis is. The movie is about a two there are two married couples that are neighbors, and then it follows the spouses that are getting cheated on as they find out that the person that their spouse is cheating on them with is the other person's spouse. So
yeah, it's talked about a bunch in film circles as like one of the greats. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm totally down to
yeah,
give that guy a
it
run back.
I'll just say though, when I was freaking out about Dune 2 and saying it was like, in my goated list, I did not mention a single Wong Kar-wai. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm a Wong Kar-wai glazer, but I do have an appreciation for the films. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I can understand. I can also recognize that if something doesn't vibe well with me, I don't just write it off as the movie being bad.
Yeah.
But there's also been a lot of things, and I'm sure anybody that's like delved deep into these kind of or movies in general has noticed that like you watch something that's like categorized as like, okay, this is the shit. You know what I mean? Like this is one of the best X, one of the best Ys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you watch it, you just don't connect. It happens,
Yeah, man.
and you gotta need to like you need to delve through it. Whether it's not like, okay, did this contribute a lot to the genre? Like, did it do something that like not a lot of directors at the time did? And like you have to sift through what gave people the opinion there. And like sometimes you're just like, oh fuck, I'm just too dumb.
No, there are a ton of movies where I felt like that. Melancholia is one. Fucking what else? Fucking Synecdoche, New York is another I'm too dumb
Yeah,
movie.
I love Kaufman. Everybody that says they love Kaufman gets a really bad rap though with like film guys because he's got pretentious movies. But I'm
No, no,
definitely
man.
a Kaufman guy.
Is the only thing is I'm not a Synecdoche, New York guy. I'm a Eternal Butterflies of the Spotless Mind guy.
Eternal Sunshine. Yeah, I mean,
Oh, sorry.
I love. No, you're good. I love that movie too. And like the only reason I was bringing that up is because I literally watched a movie yesterday that was the same was what I'm describing is because like I watched this movie called it's called The Passenger from 1975. It's from this guy that like is kind of like a really a really well received older Italian director, right? And I watched a movie from him before called La Ventura. That's like one of his like a lot of people like the movie, right?
Yeah.
So basically, I was trying to run it back because I didn't like that movie at all. You know what I mean? I was like, what is happening? You know what I mean? Like I was like, this movie is kind of crap.
I'm gonna
like
go
it,
AFK for 30 seconds, so just keep talking. Bye.
no, you're good. Yeah, the movie's like kind of crap, and like I'm like trying to figure out like, okay, like yeah, he's framing the shots well, and like obviously like he's got some idea of where it's going, but like we're sitting here on this boat for 45 seconds and all these, or like not 40, like 45 minutes, and like the conversations they're having are inconsequential, like and like the whole time they're sitting on this rock not figuring out how to, like, I don't know, it's like so odd that like I'm trying to understand what it's been like. But basically, regardless, I was like, okay, I'm gonna run it back with one of his newer movies. It has like even some more accessible actors, like Jack Nicholson, around the time where he's kind of peaking, and like if people are kind of into those kind of things. It's also got Maria Schneider. She's in some pretty good stuff, like less the babysitter if you're kind of there, La Condana, and a bunch of stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like like there's like a bunch of people in the reviews for it like glazing it hard. You know what I mean? Like they're like saying it's like you
Yeah,
know.
I mean, dude, the thing is like I value what you tell me about movies so much more than what a random on the internet will say about movies because there's so many people that just are so full of shit with like critique and like it's just like and by full of shit I mean like they're just like they talk about things in movies that like I honestly don't understand how you would find that enjoyable in a movie. Like
Oh yeah, 100%. Like there was like this other review that said like honestly I was on my phone the whole movie, but like I totally know that when I watch this movie it'll be great, and the guy gave it like a 5 stars because he was like joking about how boring it was. But basically the movie nothing happens. Like the guy's like bored. He decides to get rid of his identity and become somebody else's just cuz, basically.
hmm
Just cuz. Like there's no reasoning. Rather than he's just bored. And then he decides that like halfway through the movie he's like, honestly, I'm just bored because I'm bored, not because I was in my own life. And then he gets
hmm
bored again and then he dies. And I'm like super skipping over a bunch of points because I don't want to waste too much time on it. But like
yeah.
basically I didn't see other than it having like some pretty cracked, filmography, and cinematography, you know what I mean? I was
hmm
like, there's not really anything else. The script isn't good. Even like the overall message or what I glean from the message isn't even that good.
hmm
So like, what's this guy bringing to the table? You know what I mean? And I don't get, and I don't, and I still don't know. I look up reviews and I still don't know. I'm reading what these guys say. It's like, fuck. Like even if I buy into what you're saying, like
hmm
no, like even if I buy into it, I'm not. I don't like it.
Oh, that's so funny.
But anyways, that's the only reason I don't
Yeah.
want to get too off track. But yeah, that's
No, no,
that's
I think we've spent enough time on this. We can move on and start actually talking about Dune. I think this is great that we had a 10-minute intro because now people know that we're fucking movie nerds, especially you. Like now people we're bona fide geeks on this. So before I start talking about Dune, I just want to say like before I saw this movie, Star Wars has always been like one of my favorite movies of all time. Like not like yeah Star Wars the franchise, like the fucking shows and all the prequels and all that. No, but like ever since I was a kid, I saw the prequel trilogy as it came out, and I saw the original trilogy, and I've always been a prequel person. I've actually liked the prequels. I didn't know why everyone hated them, and I was like a little child when they were coming out. And the sequel trilogy is, mid as fuck, but it's still better than like I would rather watch the sequel movies than, Marvel and shit. But like seeing the difference in quality in terms of like Revenge of the Sith to The Last Jedi or Revenge of the Sith to Return of the Jedi, um, like with the way the Dune franchise is now for me, it's partly because the Dune franchise is incomplete. It's only 2 movies out, but judging from what the 2 movies that we have, and I don't know if we're getting any more, but judging from the two that we have and the way Villeneuve that was the director, right? Yeah, the
yeah. I
way
don't even know how to pronounce it. So
Villanueve, the way Dennis, I'll just call him Dennis. Dennis took it, like the quality is so much higher. Like Star Wars has quantity, but only like 1 or 2 of those movies can really like even kind of like compete with the way Dune 2 was presented and the way even Dune 1 was presented. Like I guess drawing parallels to the other big, sci-fi franchise Star Wars. We can take a look at episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and how that one was kind of a slow burn, and that's kind of like reminiscent of Dune Part 1 and how it was a slow burn. But it was just amazing to me how they did such a good job of setting everything up in the first one that like it going into Dune Part 2, it felt like the pacing was excellent and that there was not a single missed beat that entire like 2-3 hours I was sitting there. I wasn't bored that entire time. I got a large Slurpee and a popcorn, and I didn't eat either because I didn't want to have to get up and pee like during the movie because I was that entranced in the fucking shit. I wasted probably $30 on movie fucking bullshit and in the fucking Irvine Spectrum
mhm.
IMAX because I was that captivated by this fucking movie. And yeah, those are just my initial thoughts before I get into the notes I have for it. Well, not the notes, just a little rubric I made that Jake and I are taking that have on our screens. But yeah, what were your initial thoughts on the movie, Jake?
So I I echo a lot of the points you're saying. Like sci-fi is a hard genre, and I wouldn't even say I'm necessarily like a innate fan of sci-fi. I think in general, if you are a fan of, you're a hard fan of sci-fi, I feel sorry because you don't get a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're lucky to get one good movie, like, every 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
that, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I would definitely say that it's the most promising sci-fi. And promising is kind of like it's like the best sci-fi like franchise that we've had since Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
I definitely like it more than Star Wars, but I'm also like not a huge proponent of Star Wars, and I think that's mostly because I didn't watch any of them growing up. Like I didn't see my
Mm-hmm.
first Star Wars movie till I was like in my 20s, right?
Yeah.
So but I'm not gonna draw too much parallels in that. I would say that it's definitely one of my favorite sci-fi's, probably top two of the last 10 years. I'm still kind of struggling with whether or not I like Arrival more. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Which is
Okay.
also from the same director. So like, I mean, it's kind of just going to him. So you know, but I'm I'm a I'm definitely a huge fan of it. I'm not gonna say it's perfect. I don't think it's gonna pop my like top 10 list, but I think it's a really
Oh.
great movie.
Okay.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's a great movie. I think he's done a fantastic job with it. And I really think that the staying power of it isn't 100%, but I think that if they pop off this third movie within the next like 3 to 5 years, because I don't know if he's gonna want to do like a in between movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this
Mm-hmm.
movie farmed, right? So they're definitely gonna make a third movie if the guy's down, and he seemed down in the interviews that I watched post
Yeah.
the movie releasing. But he also talked about how he might want to make a movie after this and then come back to it. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But money bags. He might just be locked in for the next
He's
three
locked
years.
in. Yeah. He's locked in, bro.
I also saw some stuff how like Euphoria is like indefinitely delayed, so it's making me feel like they can't lock Zendaya down. But so that's my tinfoil hat. But yeah, great movie, great movie. Probably one of the best this year, and I'd be surprised if it doesn't win some of the side categories, at least the side categories in the
Mm-hmm.
upcoming Oscars. I know that's a lot, that's saying a lot considering we haven't seen any movies this year, but it definitely does a lot right. But there is some stuff that I have a problem with.
Did you want to start with the stuff you have a problem with, or?
I think we just go down the list because actually, if we're gonna go off this like rubric, the first thing is like my biggest problem, and all the rest is where I'm kind of cool with it.
All right, then I'll let you talk about it, man. Let's go.
Okay, so like, I know you can't see, these people can't see this rubric thing, but basically the first one it talks about like the narrative portion of it, and what I'm thinking about this is like more like the plot and like the story and the themes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this movie does a lot well, like in terms of building up the characters, everything, especially the sound design, probably some of the best sound design I've ever heard, ever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no doubting the director's abilities for anything. I've seen a lot of his movies. I'm a big fan of his stuff. And it goes to show that I would not even say that Dune 2 is my favorite movie from this director. And I think Dune 2 is a fantastic movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that he does some really crazy stuff in this movie with like, or his team does a lot of crazy stuff like the sound design, and his cinematographer along, really for like, he did very well. I think that
Oh,
scene.
he did the Blade Runner remake too. No wonder that's in
Yeah.
my top 10.
Yeah, he does a lot of good stuff. He does a lot of good stuff. But anyways, so I think that this might be like more of um a like a criticism on the genre as a whole, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that it assumes a lot. You know what I mean? Like it has a lot of systems in place, and I know that like part of sci-fi is suspending your disbelief, and I understand that. I'm cool with the whole idea, but like a lot of stuff like I wish was explained more, and like stuff just kind of happens happens kind of quick in a way that I feel like it's missing the thread that makes me care. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
About some stuff. Like I think a lot of people's problem with the first movie is that like because specifically this franchise more than any others, like the first and second one are so interconnected. You know what I mean? Like it almost feels like one is an incomplete movie without two, and vice versa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that isn't necessarily like a positive.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like it, in the grand scheme of things, but like obviously in the three or so years, or 3 or 2 years, I can't remember. After the first movie, you're sitting there, not really, not really knowing the full story.
Yeah.
That being said, though, like that might seem like a harsh take, but like I still think the
Well,
movie is great. I just think that like part of like why you're in this situation and like how some of the systems are working aren't like aren't as explained as I would like. And for example, like the like if we're going, because I'm kind of treating them as like a single unit, even though I don't know if I should.
yeah.
That's kind of where I'm looking at it. Like if you're taking the first movie, you're kind of assuming a lot of about like the Bene Gesserit thing and like this whole
Musa
plot to make
Haladid.
yeah, the Lisan Al Gaib, you know what I mean? But all this like to make him like the prophet and all that stuff, and I kind of buy into it towards the second movie. But like I do think that like if you're sitting here watching the first movie and you walk away from the first movie being like, okay, like but like what's the shield do? Like why is the shield like that? And like
Yeah.
why do they care about going to here? And like why does he want to please the emperor and all that
I
stuff? Like
think
there's
that
a lot.
a lot, yeah, I think that I don't necessarily agree with your criticism, but I do think they're valid. I feel like, well, if you actually read the book, no, I'm joking about that. So the book is just has always just been really difficult to adapt into a movie because it's so fucking long, and this is just like, I think this is like book one or like half of book one. There's like 20 books apparently, or something like that. Uh, but I feel like a lot of this could be alleviated if there was some sort of like prequel, or like, wasn't there like a title card or something like in Dune 1 that kind of like an exposition card that
Mhm.
like explains how computers are outlawed because there was a robot uprising, and that humanity has advanced so far that we have shields to protect us from ballistic weaponry, so ironically we're back to fighting with swords. um so like those little like lore things are never explained, and I agree with you that the fact that that's never explained, I do think that's a misstep, that they could have just had one character in Dune 1 like talk about that and like deliver that exposition, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like so part of the reason is like the guy hates dialogue. He's admitted that he hates adding dialogue to movies, and that movies are supposed to be like a visual thing, which obviously shows if you watch the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's just one example of things I like. Like at one point they bring up that they have a bunch of nukes, and that's just randomly the nukes are inside of like inside of like a rock, and like for some reason the rock is like integral to like the family's background.
Mm-hmm.
Like or the nukes are integral to the family's background for some reason
Yeah.
or the other. Like it's
Yeah.
like okay, I can buy into it, but like I this
So
doesn't feel
uh,
that didn't feel as sci-fi to me. You know what I mean? Like that felt like okay, randomly these nukes are important. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
And it was just weird, and it gave him a lot of leverage in the second portion of the movie or
Yeah.
the second portion of the second movie. You know what I mean? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like what really was the play there? But anyways, like that, I'm harping on that. But in general, I think it is a really solid epic from front to back. I'm nitpicking a little bit here. I'm just saying if we had to find a fault in the movie for me
The
personally,
Fault in
it
Our
would be
Stars.
it would be that first part. And I'll finish up the whole. If you want to talk about the narrative in general, then I'll talk about the theme the thematic part of that.
Yeah, I
After that.
coherence and complexity, originality. Well, it's adapted from a book. I mean, I feel like it's very coherent. I feel like I didn't see the first one when it came out, but it's been 2 years since I saw the first one, and it like, even coming off of not, I didn't watch the first one as like a palate, like to like wet my palate for the second one, or like to be honest though, I feel like I should have. It would have made it more enjoyable. I just didn't know that I was going to enjoy part two this much. Um, but talking about the nukes, I don't know that deep into the lore of Dune. I actually listened to like these hour long like Dune lore videos to go to sleep because I found them on YouTube. But I'm pretty sure that the lore of the nukes is that the great houses used to be nations on Earth, and like they went and colonized the galaxy. And the reason the Harkonnens look different from the Atreides and they look different from the other houses is because humanity has like branched out so far that humanity has started evolving. Um, has started evolving separately. Sorry, I had to take one in-ear monitor out. I want to make sure my roommates aren't gonna
No, you're good.
get upset. So yeah, humanity has started evolving separately, and that's part of why the Harkonnens are like in whiteface all the time, and they keep kissing each other on the mouth, and then the Atreides are like this ocean faring people, and then the Arrakis people. What are they? The Fremen are like these like African basically. Humanity has just started evolving separately from one another, like an island effect, but on a planetary scale. And I think that's a really cool lore element. That's you can't really credit Villeneuve with that. You can't really credit this Dune duo with that because all of the Dune adaptations are like that. Um, Let me see something here.
I feel
Disc-
that.
Discuss how well the theme explores themes central power, ecology, and human nature. That is so. In terms of like I really have no complaints in the narrative and thematic department. I mean, I guess I do agree though that a lot of lore isn't explained, but I feel like that could also be you could be argued that that was kind of a choice. It just like it's in a lot of movies like it's better to just not have that exposition,
Yeah,
like
but like you can like explain it stuff in other ways rather than
yeah.
it just being like it doesn't need to be like exposition where the guy talks about it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's just ways to do stuff. And like yeah, I wouldn't doubt that what you're saying like is right. And it probably is a choice. It's just a choice that didn't strike me as the best one. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. Thematically, I was kind of cool with it. I guess if they're talking about like themes of the movie, like a lot of people criticize like the whole white savior thing when this thing came out. You know, it's a
hmm
thing that's been shown in a lot of things, but like most of them are dumbasses for lack of a better word. You know what I mean? Like it's like this movie is literally critiquing it. You know what I mean? Like it's like some stupid shit for people to say that. Like the guy or Timmy, my boy Timmy Shalley. He is literally like for the entire first movie talking about how he hates his mom because he's setting her or she's setting him up for like this weird you know prophet position where he thinks he's a freak and he doesn't want to do this and that gets expanded on in the second
hmm
movie where he talk or where he learns about what will happen if he ends up like drinking the Kool-Aid basically, which he
hmm
does.
hmm
And you know he is, and right after he drinks that and like it's set in motion like he's going to be the leader and all that stuff, he takes on this like ulterior persona almost where he's like a bad guy, like everybody equates him to like Anakin Skywalker and stuff like that.
hmm
I mean, and there's some truth to that, but like they're literally saying he's the bad guy from that point on after that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're literally critiquing the white savior thing. That's like a little
Yeah, no, and
it's a little
it
side
couldn't
point.
even be more on the nose about the critique of the white savior when he says it's bullshit, and Zendaya is like, yeah, no, the leader of our people needs to be a
Yeah,
Fremen.
exactly,
Like it's
exactly.
literally said in the movie.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
did you not
It,
watch? Have we not watched the same movie?
anyways, I mean, I'm talking to like a minority of people. You know what I mean? Like that express that concern. But I think it had some solid themes, and in terms of sci-fi, it's not really. I'm not saying that there's no points to it. You know what I mean? Like theme wise, but they're trying to make it an epic
hmm
proportion, and they're adding stuff in. It doesn't need to be grand in terms
hmm
of like what it's trying to say, like a message wise. You know what I mean? It's just a good thing. It's just good to watch. You know what I mean? So I,
hmm
I thought it was paced really well. I agree with you, and yeah, I mean that's kind of all I have to say for the first part. I think that like that's probably this first part. I talked a little bit about what's bad about it, but this is probably its weakest part out of the rest of the stuff we're going to talk about. So like,
Yeah.
I still think it's great.
The So moving on, we're going on to character development. And while we're in between narrative and character development, I just wanted to say that I felt like the relationship between I can never say Zendaya's character's name, Chini or whatever the
It's
fuck,
Shawnee. It's
Shawnee,
Shawnee. Yeah, something like
Shawnee, and Paul was like I felt like it was well done, and I felt like all of the scenes that we've had felt earned, like especially when she slaps him in the fucking. That was so funny
that.
to me, bro. Like the fucking, like the scene where he drinks the fucking the worms cum when he drinks
Yeah.
the the worms cum. He fucking Like it was like every argument I've had with a woman, bro. Like the look on her face where she's just like so done with his shit. Like everyone's like worshiping him. Everyone's literally worshiping him, and she's just done with his shit. It's just like so. That was so like like that like it was such a believable like in the middle of this like hugely fantasy thing with like gigantic worms and fucking spaceships and fucking like like bald like fucking white people kissing each other on the mouth like fucking there's a really believable arc in terms of a relationship here, and not even talking about the characters, not even just the romantic relationships, like the mother son relationship, the crazy stepmom vibes, or the crazy mom-in-law vibes I got from Paul's mom, the fucking the relationship he has with the leader of the Fremen. I forgot that guy's name. The guy with the beard.
Mm.
Um, yeah, like I felt like all of those relationships felt really fleshed out, and like, dude, I really like the main antagonist of the film being uh the Duke's the Duke's nephew, and it's like he's like a foil to Paul, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked how they did that. What I thought was like I think they just pussied out. So at the end of the huge spoiler, at the end of the movie, the Baron Harkonnen is dead. Batista dies, which is really funny. He's shown to be like, oh my god, I could just go on and on about the character. Batista is a fucking, he's shown to be like this angry, like scary the scary duke, the scary leader of the Harkonnens in on Arrakis. And then when the chips are down, he's like shown to be just, he's just a coward. He abandons, I think he abandons the Baron Harkonnen before Baron Harkonnen even dies. He like, first of all, he abandons him, and then he leaves like the battlefield like with his tail between his legs basically, and one of the survivors from the first initial attack of like he was a mercenary working for the House Atreides. Like I think he was a general. He goes and he kills Batista, and Batista dies like the coward that he is. Not not Batista in real life, like the actual character. I forget the guy's
Mhm.
name, but that's just a little aside. I just like how they made the Duke's nephew a foil to Paul, and where all of this is lead. I took the most. I'm like Teddy Atlas. I like took the most roundabout way to getting to where I was saying. In the final duel between Paul and the Duke's nephew, it was crazy. It was cool. Like the way that Paul almost doesn't make it out of it. You know, like he doesn't come out of it unscathed, and it shows. It's more believable, you know, because these two kids, basically, these two princes, they're basically princes. They have very similar backgrounds in terms of having access to the best training possible, having access to the best food possible. So if they were to fight, it's not going to be like it's not like it's going to be a complete wash through, you know? And the last thing about that duel is when Paul stabs the Duke's nephew, I thought they were going to kiss on the lips because there was a lot of Harkonnens kissing each other on the lips, and it's revealed
Oh yeah.
that Paul is a Harkonnen, and it would have been cool because they would have kissed on the lips, and then one of them would have died. But yeah, that was what I thought about the.
Yeah, they ended up being cousins, right? Like that's what they were. They were cousins.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And on top of that, there's more incest going on because that girl that Paul marries to become emperor is pregnant with the guy that he killed's son.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think she's that. No, no. The girl she's married is Florence Pugh, and the person who got pregnant was like the Bond girl chick. That she didn't end up she didn't bang
Oh.
the one with the gap. Florence Pugh, the Harkonnens like golden or like the Barons, I guess like the Emperor's like actual like golden child daughter, you know what I mean, is the
Yeah.
one that she's gonna eventually end up marrying. She's like she says like, oh, if you spare him, then it'll be like a willful marriage. Like basically she'll be like she'll come and it won't be like a problem.
So Leia Seydoux is the one that got pregnant with him. What is she, what oh so they're just setting up the sequel there then because
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing. I think it's called Doom Messiah or some shit. I haven't read the books, but They're like.
Oh, you cut out.
I agree. I agree with most of your points though. Like I think there's not a whole lot. I'm sorry. I agree with most of what you're saying. I don't think
Yeah.
like there's. I don't think there's a lot to say wrong with the character development. You know what I mean? I think they specifically did really well with this the main three that I can point out that I didn't have any issue with. I thought they were like all really well done. Was I think they do a good job of like showing the growth of Timothy Chalamet's character. You know what I mean? Paul,
Mm-hmm.
like how he kind of learns through the first movie. He learns about him, where his actual origin is, and the plans for him, and he learns to hate what he's going to become or what he has already become, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. As well as in the second movie where he's like gradually trying to like almost like break the mold a little bit, and is kind of is understanding as he's going through with it that he's going to be unable to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you can see that kind of struggle. And it kind of swaps obviously when he drinks, because it's almost like the movie stops being from his perspective after he drinks.
Yeah,
You know what
because
I mean?
I feel like that's true. It does stop being from his perspective.
Yeah, like I mean, like there's obviously other scenes between that. I'm not saying it's like a third person movie, you know what I mean? But I just mean like he's still the focal point. It's just like we're not really getting those intimate moments with Paul post that. You know what I mean? Like of him like thinking about stuff. You know, like he's kind of like not detached, but like he buys into what his mom is setting up for him, and you're kind of learning more that the prophecy is just kind of bullshit. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like, yeah, he can see the future, right? He can get like this forward, this like premonitions, you know what I mean, of what's going to happen ish, right?
Yeah.
But the mom, the whole prophecy about the Elisa Al Gaib coming and helping everybody, she's just fabricating it as they go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
she's making everybody else believe it, and you're getting an idea of like how all these characters are going through, or what they're going through up until that point, and then obviously there's stark changes after that point,
Yeah.
especially in both the mom and Paul, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right when they drink that thing, they're almost. I don't want to say they're completely different, but they're drastically different.
No,
So
man,
Chani's is more gradual. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, what is he gonna become this? Like she voices her concerns. You can see her concerns. Like she even asked for reassurance from Paul, I believe, and I think after that scene where I think they're kind of insinuating they had sex in the tent. I don't really know,
they
but
did.
like
They definitely
yeah,
did, bro. That
um,
that was a sex, bro. They were like, why else would you be breathing hard like that and naked,
I
bro?
mean I don't know. They didn't show it, so I mean that's all I'm saying. I'm
Well,
just saying.
they can't show it, bro. These are two mega stars. They're and
I mean,
is this movie
I
rated
mean,
R? I think this movie's a PG-13 movie.
yeah, you can still insinuate sex though in PG-13.
That
You know,
was, dude. That was.
or like a little bit more.
Okay,
Like
this is where
I
this
don't have
is.
a problem. I
All
don't
right,
have a problem
chat,
with it.
chat. This is the real. This is the debate of this. Was sex insinuated in Dune Part Two?
I think it was. I'm saying it is insinuated. I'm just saying like
It
that
wasn't
that's what I
insinuated
agree with.
well. This is our thematic depth here.
Yeah, no, this is like honestly, I feel like they could have showed sex better, because honestly, I just want to see
This is your
more
hill.
Timothy Chalamet's nipples. I just wanted to see more of those things. You know what I mean? But
This is your hill to die on.
no. I'm not. I'm not dying on a hill. I'm cool with the way they did it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Like I said, anyways, off that point. Off that point. She talked about it and asked for reassurance that he's not going to end up becoming the man that everybody's saying he's going to become. Like all the rumors are.
Yeah, and then he says no, and he doesn't want to, and then he ends up doing it.
Yeah, he does it anyways. And while the mom and him have this stark difference, Chani is more of a gradual, at what you'd expect from like a regular narrative film. And I think that's great. I think those three are obviously the main stories they're focusing on, and I think they're done well. They obviously don't have a whole lot of character development, air quote, for the antagonist, but they don't really need to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's kind of like almost an amalgamation of just like, what the fuck's this dude doing? I mean, like I think he has that room where he's like, or that when he's inside like his room and he's like feeding humans to like his cannibalistic prostitutes. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if you can get more on the nose for like this guy's fucked up than that. You know what I mean?
no, and it's not even just that. It's that that's normalized in Harkonnen
Yeah.
society, and that it's not him specifically that's that fucked up. It's just Harkonnens in general are that fucked up.
Well, yeah, but also I feel like they're trying to make a point where he almost feels like he's even more fucked up from Harkonnen standards.
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
that's what it felt like to me. Like, okay, this whole place is fucked. They glorify violence, but this guy is like a
Giddy
bit of a
Prime.
cut above. You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna lie,
And
man. I'm hopping on Open FLX after this episode. And I'm watching the first one.
I mean, hey, go for it. You know, it's a good movie, but you know they yeah, I feel like they're trying to make a point of it, and you know he obviously Austin Butler plays it pretty well. I think like you touched on their fight scene a little bit. I think it was well choreographed
Wait,
too.
that was Austin Butler?
Yeah, it was Austin Butler.
What the fuck? I thought that was just some random like European model they got. Because
Yeah,
the no eyebrows makes all the Harkonnens look so evil.
yeah, they do good, but I think characters not much to say rather than just they're just kind of solid. You know, they're good. I think I like even the supporting cast. Like the Fremen leader, like I don't remember his name either, but the
Oh,
guy who keeps on saying Lisan Al Gaib every time the guy does something that's like moderately cool. He like gets on his hand and knees and he's like Lisan Al Gaib.
dude, that's a new
That's the
meme.
prophecy foretold. You know, and
No, so circling back to the criticism about the white savior, dude, this could not be even more on the nose about the white savior criticism when it shows his mom making shit up, like literally
yeah,
exposition dumping. Oh, I'm going to convince these retards that this prophecy is true so that they protect my son.
yeah,
Literally, she says it like word for word.
yeah. No, I mean you're right. I mean it's just like some people they just miss the plot. You know what I mean? They just miss it. You know, that's all you can do. You can't cater to everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I think it's good. I think it's one of their stronger points. I mean, like at the end of the day, with like sci-fi's like this, you kind of need to have those strong central characters, or people just even if it's like a good world, people aren't going to want to buy into it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, 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 no.
So,
Like, there's no point in having a great world building if there's no one to watch in the world.
yeah.
What was I going to say? Do you know if Paul uses the voice at all in the whole movie?
Um. I feel like yeah, he does at the end. He when he at the very end when he does his fight and like someone's talking back at him, the Bene Gesserit like queen, he
Oh.
yells silence at her and she says like abomination or like something like that or along the lines
Hmm.
and then the mom flashes her like a fuck you, you're on the wrong side of history kind of thing, you know. And but he does use it right there. I don't know if he definitely doesn't exercise it
You know, I
much.
feel like that was a choice
Yeah.
because I remember when the Fremen were like pissed off that he was there, that he was an outsider. I thought he was gonna use the voice on the Fremen, and then they were gonna be like, "Oh well, Mazal."
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, what else was I gonna say? Fucking dude, this movie is just so legendary. Like these two movies, man, are just so legendary. And then when they were the gladiator fight, I thought that the one that wasn't drugged was the doctor from the first movie. I thought he somehow survived, but no, it was Paul's um what is it, trainer, like his sensei,
Hmm.
his blind sensei. That was good. That was a good touch where the Baron didn't drug one of them so that if his nephew was weak, his nephew would have died. But then since his nephew survived, he knew that it was like the Baron's way of testing his nephew to see if he could take over for Batista because Batista keeps fucking it up. I don't even
Yeah.
know Batista's character's name. I just know him but he's playing himself in the movie.
Yeah, I'm horrible. To be honest, I'm horrible with names in general. So you know, like I'm not even trying to remember the side character shit. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
understand the characters. I don't remember their names. But yeah, there's not much else to say on this one. I mean, like it's pretty solid. And unfortunately, the next two are like kind of sweeps
Yeah.
too. Like the visual special effects and sound design. Like you can't even
Oh,
like
no, 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 no. The visual effect. Yeah, yeah. I agree with you. It's S tier CGI. There is bad CGI in the movie though. When they do the flyover shot in the battle scene, the flyover shot of the city looks like Nintendo NES, like 3D. I don't know if you would notice this. Like
I did.
huh?
I don't think I did. I don't think I did.
So there's a flyover shot, like the emperor is has already ceded power. It's the flyover shot that sets up Batista dying. So you see like the all of the people fighting, and they're like little dots, and you see the city burning,
Yeah.
and the city is gray blocks. But literally, the way they rendered the city, it looks just like PS1 gray block. I'll find a screenshot when this movie when this movie is out. I'll find a screenshot of it, like when it's out on OpenFLX, because I have to show you. It's such bad CGI. But other than that, that is the one. Because the reason I noticed it though was the CGI was so good in every other frame of the movie that was the one nitpick that I could find.
Hmm.
Yeah, like a 10-second B-roll scene.
I can feel that. I mean, like I don't remember that. I don't remember that off the top of my head. But I mean, in a movie that used CGI as much as this, I wouldn't doubt there'd be like at least one scene that was bad.
Yeah. No, but like it was in terms of CGI, this is like I don't think maybe the other Blade Runner that's detected by Villeneuve, and then like fucking yeah, there's nothing else. This is like as good as it gets in my opinion. Like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because there's just yeah, I mean, and then visual effects. I mean, there's a Villeneuve, like how you said earlier, Villeneuve is a really less is more director. And you know we've kind of been talking about number five, which is direction, like this whole time. But like he's I actually like that he doesn't really like dialogue, because he has the budget, and I don't even know about like his other movies. Well, Blade Runner also, but he has the budget to make it such a spectacle, and he just makes the environment tell half the story, and I just love that style of storytelling.
I mean, like I'll save my thoughts for that kind of thing on number five.
Yeah.
But I think that the whole like I the things I keep thinking about is obviously the one that everybody's gonna you know probably harken back to is like the scene where he rides the the sandworm, the great one, as well as maybe the triple sandworm at the end at the last fight where they like the three sandworms come out from the sand and start like kind of start the siege,
Yeah.
right? Those are two scenes in my head that kind of strike me as like some pretty incredible like feats of CGI.
Mm-hmm.
The one that kind of caught me off guard was like the arena scene. You know what I mean?
Mm.
When they're doing like it's kind of like probably not as like on the nose as like um maybe some people liked, but I don't know. I just felt like they did like such a weird way of like or use CGI in such a weird way to like make to add like ambiance to that kind of part that I was really digging. I don't know. I felt like added a lot to that scene. It's kind of a weird one to bring it out, but like there's just so much in them. Like it feels like they don't have a lot of scenes that don't have CGI because they're doing so much shit there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a incredibly visual movie, and he like you say he does a lot on the whole world building through the visuals and stuff like that. Like so I there's not a whole lot I have to say here other than like it's full of it. I don't know, like
Yeah.
it's got a lot. It's got a lot in there, and you know I don't want to like the only thing I can dock it on is like I don't know how much um like I don't know how much of the sand like I can't tell like if the sand was practical, you know what I mean, and they did that themselves, then that was like some crazy shit. But I can't find online or when I looked it up afterward, I couldn't tell, and we're probably not gonna know until we get some director's commentary bullshit. But I like the sand added some like when they had those scenes where like there was a
Hmm.
bunch of sand and like the people couldn't
Oh
see.
no, the sand is practical. They filmed in Namibia and the UAE and Jordan.
Yeah, so that's a big positive then, because some of the scenes that they made use of like the tracks, when or the weird sand walking thing. I mean, I get it, but like that's weird. I mean, they did it in the like where they have to do like the weird dance, so they don't have like a human rhythm when they walk across sand.
Yeah.
Is really funny. It just looks funny when it's like when people are actually doing it. But overall, it was a great film. It was a great film, and I I thought the visuals were probably I would say like for me it's probably sound design is its strongest part,
Mm,
but
mm.
visuals are a close second. You know what I mean? And it, but also I would point out that visual and special effects and stuff like that, like the special effects kind of stuff, it would probably be one of the things that's the least important to me. I'm not saying it's not important,
Mm-hmm.
but least important probably. Special
Mm-hmm.
effects especially. Anyways, it looked great.
Yeah, man. Dude, the sound design goes hand in hand with the visual and special effects, in my opinion. So I told you before this movie came out, I was like, dude, we just need a scene like in the first one where the Baron escapes being poisoned, where he levitates, and then we get the Hans Zimmer. Dude, this entire movie was like that one scene in the first one. That's how much I love this movie. Like, it was just a constant like over and over and over. Like it was just building and building and building and building. And I felt like it's all building to this point where Paul is the emperor, and then he's like, a Warhammer 40K emperor of man, and he's corrupted by the power. But like, it's everything just gets like every scene is just subsequently more epic than the last one somehow. You know what I mean?
No, they do a great job of that. I think the score isn't fantastic. You know what I mean? And even like the small like weird like almost like Indian chants that they do, like oh yeah, like it comes through like you know what I mean. I can't do it justice, but like
Musan al
Lisa Lisa Al Gaim or whatever. But like it's just amazing. You know, that's the thing that I walked out of the theater thinking like, wow, that's what you can add to movies to make them better. Like really, like especially in when you're trying to make epics like this, like
Mm-hmm.
the score coming along with all this stuff and like how low key and even their choice not to use any music during some of like the more intimate scenes, I think is a good choice for like how much they're trying or how much how much I think that these things are incredibly intentional. You know what I mean? They're not
Mm-hmm.
just adding stuff to fill like the blank spaces. You know what I mean? Like they're really taking the whole picture into account when they're doing this kind of stuff. And I can't say enough good things about the sound design. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
like one of the biggest movies of last year was Oppenheimer, and you know it it had it had okay sound mixing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's the best of Nolan's career. You know what I mean? You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Like he does horrible mixing, and it always gets fixed most of the time in Blu-ray. You know what I mean? But like it the it had like some intense scenes, like where a lot of sounds were going on, people were fighting, and you could still tell the dialogue was all there.
Yeah.
And, you didn't have trouble ever hearing anything, which is not something you can say with like big epics, a lot. You know what I mean? Usually
Yeah.
something's getting cut off.
Yeah.
But that's kind of it. And even like from like a like have I heard shit like this before kind of thing, I would say I maybe haven't. You know what I mean?
No, but the guttural fucking and did you notice how all the Harkonnens, because of that guttural shit, they all have this weird accent where they're talking really raspy.
Yeah, and they Tom Brady their kids every time. It's a
Yeah.
big their nephews. This is off topic, but when he went back for that, when he got kissed, when he was like being like crowned as like the like Austin Butler was getting like.
Yeah, he got this.
And he went back. He like pulled his uncle back in for a second one. I'm like, I just started laughing in the theater.
That's what I'm saying. I thought that they were gonna kiss the Paul and him were gonna kiss on the lips. Man, there's so many Harkonnens kissing on the lips.
Go. Let's
It's like
go.
have you seen that the Smiling Friends? Do you remember that joke where he was like, "You kiss your dad on the lips"?
Is that the Shrimply Pimbly guy or what's
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, no,
You,
I
ki-
remember that.
you kiss your dad on the lip.
But what was your take on it? I mean, it's hard to it's hard from like my perspective to give criticism on this because I don't have any criticism. You know what I mean? On a
I,
number of like there's literally nothing I think they could have done that would be significantly better on
I
the
mean,
story.
the biggest criticism is they didn't get Travis Scott to produce any of the songs nor any of the ad libs on the movie, so that's like a minus like 10.
Okay, yeah, I mean I could. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
No man, I can't. How are you gonna complain? But this movie's going. Okay, I'm glazing. I glaze this movie harder than. I mean, maybe if after a second time watching, I could come up with things I don't like, but like we've only both seen it once, right?
I've only seen it once.
Yep. So this is off the rip. I have no This is the thing is though. My top 5 and top 10 is mostly sci-fi. Like that's the thing. So it's like we're in like as sci-fi fans, we have Black Mirror. We got, the last time we got really good sci-fi was from Dennis again with the Blade Runner remake. But we're just in a perpetual drought because there's always a bunch of mid sci-fi coming out. Like for example, like the Pacific Rim movies or like whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
So getting something like this is a breath of fresh air because it's something that we can enjoy for years to come.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
I've
of
seen
course.
Blade Runner, like both of the Blade Runners, like over like 15 times. I've seen Akira like 30 times now. I have it on Blu-ray. I have all of them on Blu-ray. Like it's just
Kind of a bit unfortunate too. Like you say, you can enjoy this for years to come. I'm saying that's good. Obviously, it's a great movie, but like like when you think of dramas, like you're getting like multiple like pretty good to great ones a year. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
It's just tough. You know what I mean? Like even war movies, you used to get at least one good a year. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I mean, they might be going over the same fucking war they've been talking about for 80 years. You know what I mean? But like it's still probably gonna be good. It's just tough. You know what I mean? Like it's like it requires so much more legwork to make good sci-fi. That's just what it is at the end of the day.
yeah, yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, I like honestly, we can stop at five because we don't. Neither one of us cares about fidelity to the source material because we didn't even read the source material.
yeah, I'm done with
In
it.
my opinion, it's a 10. If we were to like, okay, if I was to like be not a sci-fi fan, I'd say it's like a a strong 9 to light 10. If sci-fi wasn't my main, like if my top movies were all like Tarantino movies or something, or like my top movie was like fucking Synecdoche, New York, I could see how a pretentious like movie person would be like, oh, it's just a book adaptation. It's not like original. But I don't know. In my opinion, it's like it's up there. Like I'm definitely gonna be going back and watching it multiple times. Like for me to have a movie in my top five, it has to have that replayability, and this has it in spades. Like I feel like there's so many little things that you could pick up on every scene because I was doing that with the original one. I was rewatching scenes on YouTube and like just picking them apart. Like every rewatch on a scene, you notice something different in something a character does or in a detail in one of the props, a detail in one of the backgrounds, like a detail in one of the background characters that does a detail in one that he had an extra do. Like there's just so much depth in the visual storytelling here that it is a solid 10 for me. Yeah.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, like, I mean, I love this guy's work. You know what I mean? In general, I to kind of harken back to what I said I was going to expand upon, like where you mentioned where he's incredibly visual,
Hmm.
right? And he doesn't like. I said he doesn't like dialogue in movies.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm a big fan of dialogue. I'm not going to lie.
Hmm.
I can respect both sides, and I think he's made some incredible movies that were pretty relatively dialogue heavy. I think my favorite movie by this guy, by this director, is still going to be Incendies. I'm probably butchering the name, but that movie's probably still going to stay my favorite. But this is a close second. You know what I mean? I think this is movie to me is probably a 9. And if I like the only reason I'm not really sold on the whole process is like because I'm not I like two things really because I was also kind of a hater because of Infinity War and Endgame. I know people don't like Marvel movies, but like I didn't like the split up that much. I feel like it kind of ruined part or some parts of the movie. So it's a bit of a stickler movie. I still think the movie's great. I still think it's a 9, but I it kind of made the first movie a little weird pacing wise because like nothing really happens at the end. It just kind of abruptly ends. He just comes by and kills this dude in the fight. Then it's like it throws up the peace sign at the end. It's
Yeah.
like come back in 3 years kind of thing. But that's more of like that's more of like a structure of the two movies. Like in terms of like just the second movie, like it's
Yeah.
just I still think it's really great. I think that they um maybe could have you know done like because like in my head like I don't have anything past like a 9.5 in my head, so
Yeah.
like a 9 is still good. I'm like the weird guys that never give things 10s. You know what I mean?
Is
So a
there
9
nothing you've seen? If nothing you've seen has a 10, then effectively a 9 is a 10.
well, I have things that I've given like 9.5. I mean, the thing is, like in Letterbox, I give things 5 stars just because, like in my head, like 5 stars is like what I think is the best movie.
Yeah.
If we're talking Letterbox rating, I'm giving this like a 4.5. You know what I mean?
Okay. 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 Okay.
Like so, I still think it's a great movie, and I think a lot of people will find a bunch to enjoy about it. Anything that I say that's negative about it is mostly a nitpick, but you know, I've also like I'm not the at its core I'm not the biggest sci-fi fan. So that's mostly where you're getting like maybe a bit of my hate. I'm not saying like I don't like sci-fi. It's just like it's just not what I wake up and breathe. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
this is kind of outside of my shtick just a little bit,
yeah,
but I still think it was an incredibly visual movie. I love this director. I think he should continue to make these movies for as long as he wants to, but nothing more than that. Nothing farther than that because this guy kind of strikes me as the kind of dude where like he's probably only going to do stuff that he has like he's into. You know what I mean? I'm saying that as like I hope. You know what I mean? Because
no, man, we're gonna be sitting here reviewing Dune Part 30, and
yeah,
it's gonna be the biggest cash grab.
I'm gonna be scared because what's gonna happen, right? Is like here I'm gonna give everybody here like the rundown of how this could hang up. He's gonna make this third movie and it's gonna fucking pop off, right? It's gonna do as good as the second one, or maybe even a little better. It's gonna farm. He's gonna jump out the director. They're gonna hire some fucking
You can go. You can say it. You can say it.
some fucking retard to get the fourth one, right? They're gonna get like some J.J. Abrams bullshit to come in and try to revive the series, and he's gonna make this fourth one. It's gonna be like, fuck, that was like a 6, like a 7, right? And then
No,
people
it's
will be
gonna
like,
be like I Am Sam, bro.
yeah, okay, let's say it's gonna be a 6, and then they're gonna bring in like some like kind of well respected guy to make the fifth one. It's gonna be like an 8, and people are gonna be talking about the fourth one and be like, oh well, like yeah, 6 isn't that good, but like I mean 4 isn't that good, but five's kind of good, and you kind of need to watch 4 to watch 5. And like you're gonna have to sit through like 2 6s to get to like maybe like an 8 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10. And I really hope that's not the end for the series. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I really hope that doesn't continue and keep going. Like this guy's got the vision on lock. It's obvious from the movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He needs to stay at the helm, and if he's not at the helm, then he has to be like executive producing it or helping the guy direct it in some way, like in terms of a consulting role, because he like it's just he just kind of gets the way that this is going to go. So I don't think they should continue if this guy decides he doesn't want to do it
Yeah.
because he's kind of got
He is the franchise.
he's got no stinkers, bro. He's got no stinkers.
He does. He
Like
has no skips.
like there's how many directors can you even say that about? Even like Scorsese's got skips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's I mean he isn't as long in the industry, and like I don't want to throw it in there, but he's got time to make a stinker. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't.
So
I would say as a complete package, most of my problems are with the first movie, right? And the
mhm.
second movie improves upon pretty much all of that. So I think it's a great movie.
Yeah, I mean, closing thoughts for me. I feel like I do agree that the first movie is weaker than the second, but I mean, it's just kind of a victim of how they had to adapt the book is like 900 motherfucking pages, and the thing is, if they made it one movie, then it would not be it wouldn't be. I feel like it would lose a lot of what it has going for it because
I agree.
the
Yeah.
fact that it's two movies, everything has time to breathe, and the pacing is perfect. So. Yeah, in conclusion, Zendaya getting cucked by a twink out of 10.
Yeah.
So,
Fucking poor poor Spider-Man, bro. Had to watch the fucking 2 hours of his girl getting stolen. That's just so fucked up,
by
dude.
Timothy Chalamet of all
Yeah,
people, bro.
yeah.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine like your girl is like making out with Timothy Chalamet on like in like the largest blockbuster of the year, and you just gotta sit there like, yeah, I'm so proud of
Yeah,
you, babe.
if for some reason Tom Holland, listens to this, then just know that whenever they were kissing, I put my hands over my eyes because I didn't want to ruin the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I want to keep that keep that fidelity in my mind. I cannot watch my boy Tom Holland just get cucked on the big screen like that. You know what I mean?
Well, she got cucked back. It's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, I guess that's okay. Yeah, but still,
We're here. I'll title this the hidden cuckold narrative in Dune.
you really got to look into the folds, peel it back a couple times. But it was great. It was great.
All right, signing off on that bombshell. See you guys next time.